In 1978, the Electrosound Group was formed, and the name was a brand new name for a conglomerate that used to be called ViewLex. ViewLex used to own two or three different record pressing companies around the United States, as well as a printing plant that focused on records back in the 1970s and back into the 1960s as well. So in 1978, the newly minted company name, the Electrosound Group, had big plans for the record business. In fact, in 1979, they moved their subsidiary company, Monarch, out of West Los Angeles and into the San Fernando Valley, into a brand new, beautiful facility that was going to be supposedly, really, really amping up production of records moving forward. Now, 7 years later, in Billboard magazine, there was a news blurb about Electrosound again, and this time they were talking about building a state-of-the-art CD production facility somewhere in the southwest of the United States. So in the span of 7 years, 1979 and 1986, the Electrosound Group, their fortunes went from vinyl to compact disc. But the important thing about today's video is I want to focus on the Electrosound Group, primarily the Electrosound Group Midwest, and their main plant was southeast of Indianapolis in a town called Shelbyville, Indiana. But they did a ton of records for mainly A&M. Those are all the ones that I'm finding in my collection. The cool thing about this is they were very, very aggressive. They wanted to be on the forefront of sound. And when CDs started coming into play and they were on the horizon, Electrosound knew that they had to come up with some kind of, I'm not going to call it a gimmick. It's not really a gimmick because the proof is in the pudding that I'm going to talk about later. They had to come up with something that would distinguish their records from other records that were being pressed around the country at various other plants. And what they decided to do was to use this new virgin vinyl compound called Quiex II. Quiex II basically was a zero noise floor virgin vinyl high quality product that the result would be high quality audiophile like records that would provide incredible sound quality, and they would be able to rival, if not rival, exceed the hot new incredibly detailed sound coming from the compact disc. And one of the features and one of the telltale signs of the Quiex II vinyl compound is that all of the records are translucent. Typically on A&M, they're an amber brown color, but there are some anomalies. There are some purple ones that I've seen as well as a very, very deep dark green. But it's very cool because these things are almost like secret audiophile quality records that you can find out in the wild. You just need to know what to look for, either on the record label. If we're talking about A&M, you need to look at the bottom of the label. There will be a B there. If you don't see the B, maybe check the dead wax. You're going to be looking for EMW. In 1985, the Electrosound Group decided to change the name of Monarch to Electrosound Group West. So we had the Midwest plant in Shelbyville, Indiana, and the West Coast plant, formerly Monarch Records, in the San Fernando Valley. Now, the Quiex II vinyl compound records were typically used for promo copies, so advanced copies that went out to stakeholders, DJs, etc. And then also the initial run of records that went out to radio stations, whether those were 12-inch singles or the entire album, they would be pressed on this virgin vinyl compound and sent out to the radio stations, because the radio stations were very, very pivotal with FM radio back in the day, very important for getting these records on the air, getting the records heard, becoming hit makers basically, and ensuring the success, the early success of the sales of the records. And I'm here to tell you today that these 8 records that I'm going to show are 8 of the best sounding records in my collection. And I have records that are from Mobile Fidelity Sound Labs. I have things from Analog Productions and Acoustic Sounds. I have records from Intervention. I have records from Impex. The fact that you can go out in the wild and find a record for $12 in near mint condition, it's still the holy grail to me. I love finding original pressings or later repressings that you'll find have been done on Quiex vinyl. It's really fun. And A&M Records is not the only label, and Electrosound was not the only pressing plant that incorporated Quiex. We can talk about that in a future video. I did do a dedicated Quiex vinyl video, one of my early videos. If you want to venture back and check it out, by all means, please do. I don't think I'm going to go back and watch that one again. I might have to redo that one at some point. Electrosound eventually went defunct. They're no longer around. For the life of me, I could not find the information on when they finally ceased to exist. But there are a legacy of great sounding recordings out there. So I highly recommend you guys to go out and try and find some. The 8 that I'm going to show, some people already know about these, others don't. Hopefully you don't, and it's a kind of a surprise that you'll enjoy. But also, Discogs is your friend. Just type in EMW into Discogs or into your collection. You may already have several of these titles in your collection already, and you don't even know about it. The second REM album, Reckoning, is one of my favorite albums of all time. They were kind of expanding on their sound, but still that core, Birdsian jangle pop, coupled with a little bit of shoegaze from Michael Stipe, and that incredible rhythm section, of course, Bill Berry and Mike Mills. This is a great record. Harbor Coat, Seven Chinese Brothers, South Central Rain, Pretty Persuasion. Time After Time is the kind of moody ending track on that side. And then we have, of course, Second Guessing, Camera, Don't Go Back to Rockville, and Little America. There is the actual label, and I don't have a light behind me so you can't see that, but I'm going to put up a photo of this album, and this is a purple translucent. Great sounding record, pressed on that special kind of secret audiophile quality compound called Quiex II. Another great record pressed at Electrosound Group Midwest, and that is a repressing. This album originally came out in 1979, Joe Jackson's Look Sharp, but I have a early 80s repress, also translucent, and it's on I think almost everything I'm going to show today is on the A&M label. And there you have it. Look for the letter B at the very bottom of that. There is no EMV in the dead wax on this one. Fantastic angry young man, Brit pop, Joe Jackson, look sharp. John Hiatt really kind of put himself back on the map. He had a huge comeback album with Bring the Family. But I love almost as well Slow Turning. This is a fantastic record. Also translucent, pressed at Electrosound. And some of the great songs on here. First of all, some of the great players. He had Bernie Layden, originally from the Eagles, who was doing some acoustic guitar on here, but more importantly on electric guitar was the great Sonny Landreth. Incredible sound, incredible separation of instruments. John Hiatt has got such a distinctive voice in kind of roots American rock and roll. He is a national treasure. This is a fantastic, fantastic album. Paper Thin is a standout to me. Drive South. Of course, the title track, and Tennessee Plates, another great, great song. That is Slow Turning, John Hiatt. This is not an easy record to find. If you ever do find this, though, snap it up. Sting's 91 album, The Soul Cages. Also on A&M, pressed at Electrosound. It's a kind of an amber brown translucent record. It's on Quiex. It sounds absolutely amazing. Includes the great kind of harder edge rocking title track, and then the big radio hit, that time period, all this time. Really, really great pop song. But that is The Soul Cages, Sting. 1981's Ghost in the Machine from Sting's former band, The Police. You can find this on Electrosound as well. And it is a dark, dark, dark brown, amber translucent Quiex pressing at Electrosound. Highly, highly recommended. I love this album, and I have never heard a better pressing than this Electrosound pressing. All these great songs deserve to be heard in all their glory. Go look for an Electrosound pressing. 1987, the album was Nothing Like the Sun. Another Sting album on A&M. I have the direct metal mastered cut done at Masterdisc. This was on the A&M label as well, and this was pressed at Electrosound Midwest. It is a gorgeous, very, very easy to see translucent record. This has got to be, of my standard regular pressings out there that you can find in the wild. These are not audiophile $50 records. This is one of the top 5, I would say, in my collection as far as listening quality, sound quality, just incredible detail on this record, as well as it being such an inspired album from Sting. He was like two years removed from the Police, and he came up with this masterpiece. It helps that this was spread across 2 different LPs. They were housed in these plastic bags, and it's not a gatefold, just a single sleeve cover, but just an incredible record. I saw the tour that Sting put on for this as well. I think the album, double album, Bring On the Night, is one of the better live albums that you can find. I finally found that in the last several months. Great, great, great record. I think it might be the best thing Sting has done. That's an easy argument starter right there, because he's done so many good things. One of the perfect pop albums by one of the greatest pop auteurs well, let's say neo-psych, pop, folk, Robin Hitchcock, and the Egyptians. Everything that Robin Hitchcock touches is almost guaranteed amazing. This was Globe of Frogs from 1988. Gorgeous cover. That is a painting by Hitchcock himself, I believe. Little bonus, we've got Peter Buck on Rickenbacker jangle pop guitar, and it fits in so well. Of course, Peter Buck was influenced. He used to sell records in Athens, Georgia, and he got his hands on the Underwater Moonlight album from the Soft Boys and had been a fan of Robin Hitchcock ever since he heard that record. This has got kind of the novelty hit Balloon Man on it, but also some just pop classics like Vibrating and some moodier pieces as well, like Chinese Bones. This is a great, great, great album. Pretty easy to find out there. Also on A&M, and I've got a translucent Electrosound Quiex vinyl pressing. Highly, highly, highly recommended. Between the years of 1985 and 1990, there were so many great records. I'm highlighting several of them here today. But another one from 87, the second Suzanne Vega album, Solitude Standing. Huge, huge hit. It included the huge hit, Luca, Tom's Diner, that kind of scat opening track, acapella scat opening track, Tom's Diner. Also good songs though, like Calypso and Gypsy. This was mastered by Stephen Marcusson at Precision Sound. It's an Electrosound Group Midwest pressing, also on Quiex vinyl. Sounds very, very, very good. Okay, last but not least, this is either number 8 or number 9. I lost track. Another fantastic album. This one from the UK, of course. Stone Roses. What an amazing debut. I have the Electrosound Midwest pressing on gorgeous Quiex translucent, kind of a brown translucent vinyl. I used to listen to this album all the time on CD. Only recently finally found a really nice pressing. This was on, let's take a look at the label. This was on Silvertone Records. There is that label. And I'm going to hold up a photo. I'll put up a photo of the translucent. What a great album. Really nice custom printed inner sleeve as well, with some period photographs during the recording. Amazing iconic songs like I Want to Be Adored, She Bangs the Drum, Don't Stop, Elephant Stone, Shoot You Down, Elizabeth My Dear, and I Am the Resurrection. The 1989 U.S. pressing from Electrosound of the Stone Roses. That's it for today. Another pressing plant video. This one focused on Electrosound Group. Their main plant, of course, were all the records that I went through today were pressed in Shelbyville, Indiana. They briefly had the rebranded Monarch record plant out in San Fernando, Los Angeles area as well. But really, really worth seeking out. These are great sounding records. If you can find those Quiex, and almost all the A&M records from the early 80s into the late 80s were all on translucent Quiex vinyl. So good luck finding some. Maybe you already have some in your collection. Thanks for watching today, and I will be back a little bit later in the week.